retirement's fun. There's nothing wrong with retirement, but you got to keep your mind occupied, whether you're doing a job for financial reward or an occupation, or just taking over some kind of a new role that keeps your mind active and a lot of love and support in your life. Um, and I'm fortunate enough that I have the resources that I could do this. And I feel that I think that a financial reward, of course, is the first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind. But I know if you see a lot of business experts say will tell you, don't let finance be your main objective for a job. Let it be a side benefit.
In this episode of the Hero of the Hour podcast, Mark Murphy sits down with Maria Sabando, the author of Loving Life at 50 Plus, Embracing Aging Through Humor and Wellness. Maria is dedicated to guiding individuals through the intricate journey of midlife with grace and vitality, using her three-pronged approach: nutrition, yoga, and mindful health tips. Today, we'll uncover Maria's transformational journey from the world of cosmetics to becoming a best-selling author, and how she channels her culinary skills and expertise in yoga into a comprehensive wellness guide for women in their 50s. Tune in as Maria shares her secrets for maintaining thriving relationships and career growth, all while harnessing the wisdom gained through survival and personal experiences.
I'm happy to be here with a friend of mine who's also a best-selling author, Maria Sabando. Let me just tell the audience a little bit about you, Maria. Obviously, a Georgetown graduate. You are a super mom and does all the things that moms do, but you do it with a little bit of a Shri decor, a little je ne sais quoi that others don't have that I think we're going to discover during this podcast. And I just want to give everybody the name of your book. It's Loving Life at 50 Plus, Embracing Aging Through Humor and Wellness.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
just thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Mark. This is so exciting. So I'm a mom, but empty nest mom because I'm a mom of two women, 22 and 20. So I'm not a young mom anymore. I broadened my horizons a little bit, and it's so exciting that you would title this like heroes. Like that makes me feel so special. That's like great. I know I was very interested when you said you want to do things about heroes because my actually if you were to ask me who my hero is, I never really thought about it, but now that you asked me, I really thought about it, and I would have to say it would be my father, who is deceased.
He's a great
Eh,
man.
yeah, a major great man, major businessman, family man, and he would always say to me, "Don't sell yourself short." And I I took that to heart, but it took me a while to take that to heart, and I translated that to mean now, and as I'm going through this journey of being an author, don't always think that other people are smarter than you. Don't always think that um, people do it better than you. Because if everyone thought like that, there'd be no competition and you wouldn't move ahead. So that's what, when he said, don't sell yourself short, I really started to think about that a lot. Um, yeah.
You know, the people, just so you have an idea, I think the people watching us today are people that either think entrepreneurially or we want them to think more entrepreneurially. And they also want to help create multi-generational wealth. So the first question I have for you is, what made you take the leap from cosmetics into writing?
Yeah, that is that a lot of people ask me that. I did cosmetics as something to keep me busy. And then I found out that I loved it, but I didn't love certain aspects of it. And then I revisited one of my old loves, which was writing, which I I wrote when I was younger on a very limited scale. I wrote for the school paper. I wrote for a hobby, creative writing. I wrote a lot of recipes. So I was like kind of like a Martha Stewart, but also like multifaceted with the writing. So I said to myself, I feel drawn to explore this again. Not only because I had the time, just because something in me moved that said, Maria, you need a little something. You're 50 and change, and you need a little something. And you need more than a little something, something that's going to really get your creative juices flowing and get your use your talents as a chef. And long story short, the book was born. And it started off as a cookbook, but then it blossomed to how cooking could help women in their 50s, how yoga could help women in their 50s, and how this translates to relationships. And it's not a likely scenario for a book, but I just kept writing and writing, and I said, let me see where this leads. So I became happy in the fact that I'm making women happy by learning how to balance a life with excitement, but still with domesticity. It's a hard balance, and also to give them inspiration because moving forward into the 50s, I was just feeling in a slump. I said I need to wake myself up and wake everyone else up, and I'm doing this by revisiting a new career, writing, and envisioning a career that is going to open doors. So writing leads to it led to a branding. Um, which the branding leads to other paths. So it opens a lot of doors, which ultimately might lead to something else. But the point is, I didn't just decide I'm 50, this is it, which a lot of women do. And I decided that, well, it's 50, this is it. Let's just focus on, eventually I'll be a grandmother. That's great. I can't wait to be a grandmother. But I have a long life ahead of me to lead. And I got so inspired. I said, let me try to inspire some other people. And I'm just now I'm so thrilled about this book that I'm getting very good reactions. People telling me, it keeps them very cheerful and uplifted.
Well,
And they're
well,
going
first of all, you're
to
hysterical. It's a funny book. It's
well,
like if
yeah,
you want
that's
to
where
laugh, you want to
humor
do it.
comes in. Because if I didn't have humor, I couldn't write because you dip into all these feelings and you don't want to get too like when you journal, you don't want to get lost in your feelings. You got to keep it light.
What do you think I want to talk about all women eventually, but if we just start with women that are sort of empty nesters, women who are, on around 50 and growing, what are some of the misconceptions that, or perceived, or misperceptions or
Oh,
misconceptions that
yeah,
we
you're
have?
speaking my language, yeah. That it's over, that you should, dress very conservatively, that you don't need to beautify yourself as much. You could just pretty much relax a little bit, and, it's time to go out to pasture. Nothing could be more the opposite, especially these days. Uh, 50 is the new I'm not gonna say I'm not going backwards in age. 50 is the new 40, the new 30. It's the new excitement. That's what it is. And I think people are discovering women, especially at this age in their life, that they have things, talents that they didn't have before because they didn't have the time to explore them, nor the inclination, nor the support. Um, I feel that uh, whether it's wherever you are in your relationships also is a parameter for how you're going to do in career wise. Now, maybe you reevaluate your relationship so you get stronger than one you already have because you survived this far. I mean, I'm 54, you survived, you have survival mechanisms, you know how to deal with life. And maybe I could help people based on what my personal experiences are. So my experiences and my anecdotes and my memoirs are like my secret weapon here. I use that humor and that experience and getting over stomach bugs to help other people. I'm just an ordinary person. I did not. I'm a mom, and a wife, very happily married, nice family. But I didn't I didn't I'm not a nutritionist. I am not a therapist. A school of hard knocks. I did go. I do have a good education, but I attribute a
You're
lot
highly educated.
of the book, yeah, to a social experience and street smart just by living.
How as you emerge, one of the many things I've noticed about you is you've got a really great marriage. You've been a great mom to both of your daughters who are now in college. Have they changed how they perceive you as you've changed? Has that changed how they perceive you or how your relationship changes as they've gotten older?
Yes, happily, Mark, because now that they're older, they look to me for advice. Of course, they look to my husband for advice. He's more of a professional, but as someone who is recently starting to dip into the world of literary world as college arts and sciences students, Also business because of arts and science students. They are, they are. It's a big world out there, and maybe there. I know one or two things because I wrote a book, and uh, it didn't take me all that long. Like I got about a year and a half, and it was. I have to tell you, it was almost completely blissful. It was not only because of people I work with, but just the fact that I could create this and make it for other people to see instead of just keep it in my own journal, my own cookbooks. People are looking at this and liking this, and that you have to get over. You have to reach a new level of confidence to do that, and get out there and just be have a have a title that's not just there's nothing wrong with what I did before, working aesthetically with cosmetics, and I love it. But this is something that's much more intellectual and academic, which is great because those old, mind muscles got a little stale. I many years since I graduated college, and I'm glad that I could. It feels great to use all those. Very satisfying feeling. Um, I'm working on another book, which I'm not going to talk about. I won't. I won't bore you with the details, but it's coming. I'm working on it, and it just revitalizes me. It's a great job to have when you're working at home. And I'll tell you something. It is a job. It is work. I'm not just the Renaissance woman. I actually force myself to write a couple chapters each day, and then I feel good. Then I could relax. It's like a regular job. So put it in, do the work. Because I tell you, Mark, if I'm not working in a productive manner, I I feel I just get weird. I
Well,
can't.
well,
I gotta
in all the years I've known you, I don't know. I think I've ever seen you sit down for more than 5 minutes. So
Yeah, a lot of people
so,
say that.
I
Yeah.
don't think I don't think you ever rest or do anything like that. What do you think women? What challenges do you think women have in this society? I mean, you're the mother of two daughters. You're a sister. You're a daughter yourself. What do you think women? What challenge do you think women face?
There are a lot of challenges because of uh, the fact that women's roles are changing. But because of that shift and that change, it could present a lot of problems too. Because women are great now. But by the same token, they're expected to do more. But it's a good expectation. They're expected to do more. Uh, you know, keep the family going as well as you did before, but have a job too. And it's not a bad thing that they have this role shift, that they have these expectations placed on them because they're not burdens placed on them, they're expectations. So they are moving forward and you find when you are supportive, get your love of your family, all the career just comes much more naturally. When you get that support, you're able to have more confidence and work a little harder. And you not just financially to work for the family and yourself, but just to have that inner inspiration and growth and work ethic. Um, it is my hope that everyone has a work ethic. And I would, it's a dream of mine that all women at this age get reunited with the work ethic. I mean, it's like a new lease on life. You're and that helps your health, your physical health too. When you don't have something to look forward to, or you're complacent, or you feel lack of confidence, like I can't do it, I can't push myself a little harder to work a little harder for something that's going to make me happy down the line. Your body breaks down. And I said you could retirement's fine. There's nothing wrong with retirement, but you got to keep your mind occupied, whether you're doing a job for financial reward or an occupation, or just taking over some kind of a new role that keeps your mind active and a lot of love and support in your life. Um, and I'm fortunate enough that I have the resources that I could do this. And I feel that I think that financial reward, of course, is the first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind. But I know if you see a lot of business experts will tell you, don't let finance be your main objective for a job. Let it be a side benefit. Go for your dream and what you're good at and what you like doing. And to me, that mainly makes it all come together.
I've recently invested in a company called Bonfire,
Oh yeah.
and it's a group that is designed to help women succeed through their life. And what was interesting about it, there was a theory years ago that said, hey, the reason why women were not achieving the same level of, let's call it, business success as men was there
Mhm.
just weren't enough women in the pipeline.
Okay.
And that sort of has been a theory that's been disproven. And one of the things that they believe now to be the case is that they call it the broken rung. That somewhere between year 8 and year 15, which is oftentimes the times that women get married and have children, that's where they fall behind their male counterparts. And I'm not saying that men don't have it tough, but I think women have it tougher because of that broken rung. And I think, as somebody who's got 2 daughters, you've got 2 daughters, um, you got a lot of
Yeah.
nieces, nephews, and other things. I think we wanna do everything we can to make sure that every woman has exactly the same opportunity that their male counterparts do.
I think that's awesome. I think the problem presents itself about what you're saying is because so many women, unfortunately, and this is changing, are forced to make a choice, choose between the domesticity of the family life and the workforce. That's where I see the problem. But luckily, these barriers are breaking down. It's getting much better. Roles are changing, and men are um, men are becoming more, thankfully, sensitive to women's drive to get ahead and their issues. There's still a long way to go, and that's just a broad generalization stereotype. It's not the rule, but I think there's a long way to go. But I think that we're making strides in that um, every day. If you compare it to 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's all getting better. And there's nothing wrong with not working if that's your choice. But if you want to work and you want to do something that's going to benefit you, your heart and your soul and your career, and it's something you feel strongly about, you should find the means to pursue it. And if you're lucky like me, you have a partner who supports you in juggling, because there's a fair amount of juggling. And the men are taking over the domesticity roles, which is amazing. Because I
I
think they've proven that they're just as good as doing women's jobs, and women are just as good as doing men's job. I think that that's been proven.
one of the things I always tell my daughters, I tell them this, right? I tell women in general is I think you have to make a choice. You can either be a victim or you can be empowered. You can't be both. And I want my girls to be empowered. And because there is no glass ceiling anymore. They can do anything that they want to do. You mentioned, hardworking. I think that's a component of it. I think motivation, by the way, when you're motivated, motivation, that lasts for like an hour or 2 hours. Either you're motivated or you're not. I think what really is important is discipline. And I think when you have so many challenges, so many things that you have to do, particularly women, that the most important thing is you've got to be disciplined to make sure that you're accomplishing what you need to accomplish. And it's sometimes almost impossible. Um, I also think that women, I think my generalization, I think women have to also ask for help. I think that, one of the things that I've had in my career is that I've had a lot of people help me. I was only one person and I needed to collaborate with a lot of other people that could help me to get where I've gotten. And I think people just have to not be afraid to ask for help and say, I'm only one person. I can only do so many things. I need people to help me
Right.
do other things, you know?
Right. Absolutely. You run into challenges and stumbling blocks and obstacles. So I would say for me, it was when this it's generational, the technology. And although I could hold my own, I had to concede that there are some things I'm not figuring out without the help of a little assistance with technology. And we get stubborn, especially my age. We're a little stubborn, so we have to be more flexible in that aspect, um, and change with the times. Because I know I'm not really old, but middle age, and things have changed, and they're changing. The rate of things are progressing is very quickly. But one thing I've noticed that I noticed a positive change is that people have a dream now. That when they have a dream, many years ago, it'd be shut down immediately. Um, People have dreams that initially don't appear very practical. Now, there's a great amount of people rallying behind people who explore their dreams and pursue their dreams. And maybe the reason is if you have people believing in you, you're like smarter and you are more confident and you're going to go after that dream. where years ago they might shut you down and say it's impractical. So sometimes you gotta take a leap of faith and say, look, it's not practical for me to write a book that is a cookbook and it's still at the same time guiding women. Like, who does that? But I did it because I felt it was something my heart had to do because it was a dream. And when you believe in the dream, you're going to bust your butt to do it because you believe that there's going to be a result at the end. If you don't believe in it, you don't think there's going to be a result, so you're really not going to work as hard. And the energy that comes from true belief in yourself is unbelievable. I'm sure you learned that.
I would also say that, Richard Branson, he talks about, do I have a business life and do I have a personal life? And he says, no, I just have a life. He goes, I just move from one thing I like to the next in my business and personal life. They're interchangeable, but I'm from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, I'm just doing things that I enjoy doing and that I'm good at. And so I notice you have some kind of fun things you do outside of your career in writing and the things you've done. I know, first of all, I'd love you to tell people how you balance, family, career, and fulfillment. I'd love you to even talk about your cookie exchanges or your devotion to yoga. I mean, you do a lot, you have a lot of things that you go that what I see you going from one thing that you like and you're good at to another thing you like it good at and business and
Right.
personal kind of
Right.
traverse each other.
It's sometimes it's not so good. Most of the time it's good because there are days when I got it all going on, and then sometimes tell my sister I'm all over the place. Redirect me, but I have to tell you, I combine the things. I combine my love of food and family with big events, with big catering events, and then big parties. So it's like I'm working, but I'm not because one of my back burner things right now is event planning. Yes, let it be said, Linda. It's on the line. I'm revealing it now. I
It'd
wasn't
be
going
natural for somebody who's a great cook and a great planner to be an event
to.
planner. I mean, it would seem to be a natural something. I could see you being a killer at that.
Yeah, so that's like on the back burner too. So I like to have a finished product for everything I do. There's always an ulterior motive. So I will have people over. The ulterior motive when I have people over is everyone have a good time because a celebration in and of itself is its own reward. But subliminally, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, this I've got to turn my what I enjoy and love into something that is going to be a finished product at the end. So between you and me, whoever's listening, there's event planning on the back burner. Also, I as a hobby, I write. So I'm dipping into yes, I'm saying I'm dipping into fiction now. I did fiction a long time ago, left it behind for whatever reason. And I was just telling my husband, well, I'm already in my neck to the first 10 chapters. That means I'm not turning back. And that is like I'm creative writing and business. And you would think that they're not mutually exclusive. I don't know how, but I'm doing both sides of the brain. I'm doing writing and business because sometimes you need to see the fruits of your labor. And writing is beautiful, but it takes longer. It
But
takes,
the
it's
one
a
thing I
back,
think of,
it's a writing, it's a thing in progress. And I will do both. I will do business. I will do writing. I don't think I could live without both of them.
one observation, another observation I have about you is that, like for instance, when we get done with this podcast, I'm going to step outside my office and I don't know if there's going to be one, two, three, four fires I've got to put out or problems. I have no idea what I'm going to find when I open that door, but I can only control the state that I'm in and how I deal with those problems because the problems are going to be there or not there, regardless of what I do.
Right.
And I noticed that your attitude through humor and through your outlook on life, that I noticed that you keep a real positive attitude, even when I've seen you when things aren't going perfectly. How do you do
Thank
that?
you for that. Thank you for that. I actually, because I mean, with this crowd, we're all over the place. We're a very creative bunch. We're a very loving bunch, and it lends itself to a lot of humor. And Mark, if I'm not laughing, I'm crying. So I gotta keep it. I gotta keep it real. And with this bunch, it's hard not to laugh because they are everyone and my family has such a good sense of humor and we keep it light. But You are right. When mom is usually the center of this, mom's not having a good sense of humor. There's a trickle down effect. No one else is either. I just figure, I think that it's like if you take it too hard, you can't control everything. There is such a lighter side of life. And I grew up with a very loving family, and we get silly sometimes. And I think laughter is the best medicine. I'm a very spiritual person too. I'm a very religious person. So I learned that, when the going gets tough, you gotta get going. And sometimes things are so crazy that you have to laugh at them. Even who was it? I saw a movie once. I don't know. It was a Woody Allen movie, and Arnold was like, or Woody Allen says, or someone said in the movie. I think it was Arnold. He said, humor is tragedy plus time. And
Yes.
I said that to Otto. I said, when this was happening, we were so distraught, we were so upset, but now we could laugh at it. For example, perfect example, we were traveling through Europe, and I guess we were in Sweden, and we went to get our flight, and we went up to the steward, the receptionist at the airline. So she said, "Oh, where's our flight? We're having trouble. We don't see it on the screen, et cetera, et cetera." It was a long time. I don't remember the details, but she was there. She's there. Oh, I have, I have good news. The good news is I located your flight. I said, so that's good. She goes, well, what's the bad news? She goes, it left yesterday. And I'm like, Otto and I, like we were thinking we split our sides, but it wasn't funny at the time, and I get so much inspiration from my husband because a serious professional. He's a doctor, but he has a wild, great. I tell him, you're every bit as crazy, if not more crazy than me. In his downtime, not when he's working. So it's. I think when you work too hard, you have to have some kind of a release because you'll go crazy. So it's nutty, and I think nutty is good.
Well, he's
It's
not only a good man, he's your number one fan.
he's solid. Yeah, he's solid. Yeah. I mean,
Back to women? The last question I have for you, I just want you to what I love people to look. I mean, there's by definition half the people watching this podcast are women, and probably of the other half that aren't women, they're either raising women or have a sister or have a mother or have an aunt or somebody. What advice you focus so much on women and women after 50? Just give some advice. Let's end this podcast with you sharing some of your wisdom of what they can take away to make
uh,
their lives better and have this kind of success that you've had.
only one thing: don't have regrets, and don't beat yourself up about the past. It's very simple. I mean, you should, and that's why I focus so much on the yoga, because we're taught to focus on the present, not the past or the future. Now, I'm not saying you go around being zenned out and live in la la land all the time, but I even tell my mother, who's much older and wiser than me, I say, chalk it up to experience. Don't beat yourself up. I say it all the time. So you're at this age, you have to move forward. You're not going to get younger. Do you have a choice? So why not just rise to the occasion and just prove everyone wrong about the myths about getting older? You got this. You totally got this. I know a lot of people say, well, what if you're stuck? Um, yeah, we all get stuck. I mean, everyone gets stuck. I'm not cheerful every day. I get stuck. Uh, Sometimes it's hard for me to get unstuck. But like I say, if you have a good support system, it's really great. If you don't, I'm sorry, sister, just reach down into your soul and you know, pull your resources. You got here so far. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. You
You know,
just believe in yourself,
you say no regrets. I mean, Fred Joel, but a good friend of mine, Fred Joel, who founded 1-800 Dentist. He always
Yeah.
says bold is a superpower. And I
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
I think that, another word for regrets is you want women, you want all people to be bold and seize the day, take the world by storm, because I still think in this country, if you're reasonably smart and you're willing to work hard, you can accomplish anything. And I think that the one thing I would say to all my children and my daughters especially is the only person that can stop you is you. A lot of those barriers have gone away and are artificial, and you can break through those doors when you're bold. And if you're talented and willing to do, if you're willing to do what it takes, you're willing to do some things that other people are not doing to be successful, you can do anything you want in this world and have the kind of life you want to have. And I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day to spend a few minutes with us. And Maria, where can people find you? Where can they buy the book? Just give us a
You
little
can buy
would you
book.
hold up a copy of
It's
it?
on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Loving Life at 50 Plus, Embracing Aging Through Humor and Wellness. Yeah, Barnes and Noble, Amazon, and you can look at my Instagram, Maria C. Sabando, and there's a lot of information on there too. I want to thank you, Mark. I was so honored to be on your podcast today. It was really fun. Really thank you so much.
Well, I think that one of the things that we have in common is we just want to we want to touch the lives of all the people we touch, and we just want to create a bigger, better future for everybody, not just our friends and our family, but everyone. And so I hope it's great to be in a world where people like you and Otto are in that world, making a life better for other people, and I want to be part of that as well. So thank you again.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Ciao.
Take care. Thanks again. Bye bye.